Alright everyone, since the very integrity of the internet is under imminent threat now by a handful of unelected big tech billionaires who are openly promoted by individuals who call themselves liberals, they don't appear to know what liberal actually means. They don't resemble the anti-war left that I used to know. They don't resemble the liberals of the 90s. I think that they resemble lemmings, I think, at this point more than anything else. It's time that creators begin platforming one another and helping one another on a new level. I've been encouraging this basic premise now for years. One of the things that I started doing was shouting out people's BitChute channels, giving them a boost up to help the platform, to help myself, and to help them. At this point, I'm going to say this. I have vast and broad ideological differences of opinion with most creators I've ever encountered. I have broad ideological differences of opinion even with fellow libertarians. I do not believe in open borders, for instance. I happen to be pro-choice. This rankles some people. I have huge disagreements over religion. I've debated some people on these things, like Nick Fuentes. He's a Catholic. I'm a irreligious pagan, and so we clash on this. But at the end of the day, we're all sort of in this together. The internet's a huge place, and ideological content creation, I believe, is worth saving. So at this point, really, we're faced with the following situation. It's now clear that a handful of billionaires intend to destroy the internet as we know it, or at least, try to. They're going to upend things. They're doing this for money and power. They're not doing this to save the children, to stop extremism, to cancel hate. Those are all corporate sponsor buzzwords that they use. It's propaganda. It's linguistic bullshit. It's a pitch to people. It's sort of like the Patriot Act, or clean coal, or anti-fascist action. There are leftists on YouTube. There are leftists on Twitter. I spar with them. There are libertarians, conservatives. There are people that are far more moralistic and traditionalistic than I am. There are people with a million different views of how to solve the current tech situation. Repeal 230, reform 230. Oh, let's have secession and balkanization. All sorts of different bizarre and sometimes bizarre opinions about basically everything because people are opinionated. At the end of the day, I consider some of those ideas to be flat out dangerous. Certain ideas that I see peddled, and not even those that will get you banned, I consider to be dangerous. For instance, I think that the concept of UBI is economically dangerous. I happen to be at variance with the left on this. But at the end of the day, no proposal that they're making other than promoting censorship, which is coming predominantly from lamestream establishment liberal voices at this point, not even from the left, other than that, not a single proposal that they're making is as dangerous as the idea that 6 unelected multi-billionaires that control all of human communication should collude together in order to essentially destroy your livelihood. The number of lives that could potentially be ruined by this, and the violence potentially that could be spawned by such actions, is horrifying, to tell the truth. Because when people are pushed to the brink, have nothing to lose, and have been completely cut off from their way of life, when they've been completely cut off from any possibility of communicating in a peaceable manner, sometimes they get violent. This is what the lamestream isn't telling the public right now. Right now, a handful of billionaires is upending U.S. society. And it goes beyond that. Oh, you're not an American, you say. Well, ha ha ha, what Silicon Valley does doesn't matter to me as much. The internet is intertwined with literally every aspect of your life at this point, unless you are in the third world. If you're in the third world, you're probably not watching me at the moment because you probably don't have a computer or internet access. Unless you're wealthy, in which case you probably don't experience the same social alienation as the rest of the world because you've got a little bit of a hedge there, a little bit of a shelter against possible economic fallout. Or at least you think you're safe. You think that people have gotten into this weird decadent situation where they think all the shit that happened in the past, corrupt billionaires, civil wars, and pogroms and stuff can't happen today. No, it's happening all over the world. It's just not happening in your suburban neighborhood. So I think that creators should unite and platform each other more. They should promote alt tech more. There are people who didn't get on that train. Let's throw out a rope to them and pull them on the fucking train because it's choo-chooing along up the hill and away from mainline tech. At this point, if you're following me, like if you're watching this on YouTube, don't bother. It's almost like fucking don't bother. The content probably won't even be there in a year or two. And even if it is, it has to be continuously watered down. Watch the BitChute exclusives if you want, the real news, I suppose. It will probably get to the point where merely linking to these sites is banned cross-platform. You do realize that they're already attempting to do that with Parler. There's been scuttlebutt about BitChute doing that to them. For instance, when you tweet out a BitChute video on Twitter, you notice a warning there that you have to click through. This link might be dangerous. Yeah, it's usually the same shit that I'm posting on YouTube that even conforms to the most milquetoast Y7 mainstream rules you could conceive of, but it might be dangerous because it's BitChute. Because it's a different platform that's not run by someone who's, can buy and sell your ass 1,000 times over. That's why. They don't want the competition. Twitter is engaging in illegal monopolistic behavior. You should use alt tech. You need to try to force the creators that you enjoy to use these platforms. You need to try to encourage them to shout them out. They don't have to necessarily abandon mainline tech altogether. I'm still going to make videos on YouTube until I'm banned. I've already pledged to that. Why? Partially out of principle, partially because I still have a soft spot. I can't get past the fact that when I first arrived on the internet, my first break was becoming a YouTuber, essentially. So I'll give them a lukewarm pass over what I would give to Twitter or Zuckerberg's Facebook. I'll give them a little bit more of a pass. Encourage the creators you know to prioritize the platforms, popularize the platforms, give suggestion. Encourage their fans to sign up. There are so many people that have like 50, 60,000 fucking people following them on BitChute. They never mention the fact that they're even on the platform. There are people who have large 5-figure audiences all over Odyssey, like Malnu and stuff. Other than Malnu, Cullen, and a few others, nobody even talks about these platforms except to tweet about them occasionally. Only when a purge happens does wider consciousness get attracted to these sites. Well, I mean, you could have been popularizing yourself all the time. I'm going to hit 120,000 subscribers probably today on BitChute. Most people never get near that on YouTube with its, billion users or some insane number like that. BitChute has a few tens of millions of active users, hitting the reasonable 6-figure mark. Yeah, I prefer to be competitive. I'm way, way too opinionated. I am too big a blowhard and narcissist to ever fucking shut up. If mainline tech bans me, it doesn't even goddamn affect me as much anymore. I would have worried 3 years ago. Now I say, no, Twitter's banning people again? I'm so surprised. And when their stock plummets, it's going to be funny. They'll probably half-ass it afterwards and say, well, we might have overreacted. Trump is a bad person, but we're sorry for purging all of you for your conversations. Like, remember after, what was it, the Hunter Biden laptop when they were covering that shit up? And they were banning people for merely mentioning it. And then Jack Dorsey comes out a few days ago, well, yeah, we jumped the gun with that one. We didn't make it clear quite where our TOS cut off. No, you think? No, you were worried because you alienated large swaths of your user base. You just alienated half the United States and an enormous number of people in other countries too. Good fucking luck. What's the point in using mainline tech, especially when they do things like this that are practically suicide? It's suicidal to purge millions of people from a platform and alienate half the population of the biggest tech nation in the world. It's insane. They rely upon their stock prices, upon investment too. Some of them are going to go bye-bye. The fact that you have appeased social justice warrior media companies and shit like that who already bought into Twitter is not going to expand your income. All you're going to do is get smaller investors to divest because they no longer have confidence in you running your product. Creators of the world need to get together and oppose this. Number 1, speak out. Number 2, platform one another. Number 3, platform alt tech. Do everything that you can. You might as well pull out all the stops. Again, reality is different from how it should be. How it should be is it should be easy. You've already got a big audience. You're established. You're not doing anything wrong. So you're left alone and you talk and you do everything and you grow and make a living and give your opinions. That's how it should work. That's not how it's going to work. You're going to have to do the same kind of work that you did when you first started building your brand, your platform. By the way, to all of the lowbrows and septics and so forth, you're in the same goddamn boat. Because if these platforms begin to denigrate, your audience goes away too. If Twitter stops being a dumpster fire, liberals aren't going to want to use it either. Your sub count's going to start dwindling. Your views are already dwindling. I've checked Social Blade for literally dozens of different major creators. You're all slowing down. It doesn't matter whether you're on the left or on the right. Why do you think this is? The internet's a big enough place for all of us to have our opinions, and we should all be helping one another, rather than, again, as I pointed out years ago, constantly antagonizing one another. Yeah, I like a good debate. I like a good dumpster fire now and then, but by and large, it's just completely goddamn unhelpful. I've had to call out other creators for this. I'm going to call out anyone who's not popularizing their alt-tech presences. They made a Minds account 5 years ago and never logged in again. What are you smoking? Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, Twitter will probably go bye-bye. YouTube is going to go into decline because they're going to start banning everybody. It's basically going to be it's basically MTV 2.0. It starts off really edgy and gets built by the weirdos and the cool kids, fucking Beavis and Butthead and the Osbournes and shit, and then it goes mainline. Jackass. Good things like that. Now it's MTV News. Yeah, with their video years ago that I chuckled about white people or something like that. I can't even fucking remember. It was like back in 2015. It's stupidity. And creators keep antagonizing one another. Not helpful, dude. That's about all. Peace out.